at. And right now, they might be talking about how does anyone catch Ricky Carmichael.
Got to beat him off the start and push him hard, make him ride a little bit outside of his comfort zone. Just take him out of his rhythm altogether. Maybe get in there and make a little contact with him.
Taking a look at our Suzuki starting lineup, you see that Sean Hamlin will be back in the field. We found out that he dropped out because of a broken shock on the Sobe Suzuki. And of course, Mike LaRocco, Kyle Lewis, John Dowd, the rest of the field, everyone chasing after number 4. The cart is sideways. The gate is getting ready to drop on the second motor, the Yamaha National. And here they come right up the start. It looks like LaRocque. No, it's Carmichael again. Carmichael at the lead. A couple riders going down, and it's Tim Ferry. The Yamaha of Tim Ferry. Wow, what a bad break for Ferry.
And a good one, once again, for Carmichael. And it looked like Carmichael had a little hiccup as he went around that first corner, and it caused a chain reaction. It may have caused Ferry to go down.
And once again, Ricky comes out smelling like a rose in second place. Number 73, Damian Plotz. He's a privateer from Pennsylvania. And then it looked like LaRocco coming up right behind them. And Hamlin actually goes in second. That was Kyle Lewis who we saw behind them. So it's Carmichael, Hamlin, Plotz, Kyle Lewis. A little gap back to Guy Cooper, 40 years old, and doing a fine job on that 540 KTM.
He is. This is a great start. He's still up in there. And the fact that so many riders are missing, Roncato's missing, Billiman, Travis Pastrana, Kevin Windham, and Tim Ferry clear back in last place. Tortelli with a bad start. It's privateer heaven up front.
And it's also Ricky heaven. You see in the very back of the pack, there's Tim Ferry dropping the Yamaha on the first turn. He was the only guy that could even keep Carmichael in sight. And it's going to be impossible to catch up to the number 4 Honda in a field like this. David, what happened?
Well, watch number 4 right in the center. Well, as soon as he gets into the corner, it seems like he has a little hesitation. He gets sideways right there, and a rider behind him gets sideways trying to miss him, and that causes Ferry to go down.
There was John Dowd who hooked Ricky's back tire and started the chain reaction. And Ferry, the only one out of 40 riders to go down, and the only one that was on Carmichael's pace in the first moto. Now, as you can see, look at the lead. He's already built up here in the first lap at Budds Creek.
And, you know, nothing against Hamlin and Lewis, but those guys aren't quite the caliber of Carmichael, and hardly anybody is, but especially those guys being privateers and not really having the confidence Ricky does. Of course, he's going to have a huge lead and an easy day.
Taking a look at Guy Cooper. We mentioned last week how Doug Henry showed up at the local race in Southwick in the back of his pickup truck. Well, Cooper came all the way from Oklahoma to Maryland to ride this race. Guy Cooper just really enjoying his life as a privateer motocross rider. And right here, you'll see what happened. This was the first moto. When Cooper went down, he got too far on the outside into that soft mud they pushed off to the side. Down he went, almost got hit by LaRocco. Cost him any good finish he could have had in the first moto.
Looked like as they went for the bike, he was limping just a little bit. Look at that.
And Kyle Lewis flat out on the gas goes by the Suzuki of Hamlin. So Lewis moves into second place.
Hamlin, like they talked about, look at him fight. He's fighting. He almost gets back into the rear tile, putting the pressure on Kyle Lewis. Just keeping him in check, making sure he can hold on to that pass. These guys are pretty equally matched. But there you go. Hamlin looking back. That's not a good sign. And he blows the berm, too.
Same thing happened, same spot in the last moto. You can't learn anything off these guys if you can't see them.
Hamlin getting a little bit wide at the bottom of the hill. Lewis all over it, puts that power to the ground, wheelies right out in front of him. I don't think Hamlin really was stoked about that. There was no dirty riding or anything there, but Hamlin's going, all right, right back at you. He tried to square him off at the top of the hill, but he's already starting to lose some ground. And now he's got to deal with LaRocco, and that's not going to be easy.
You got to think that Kyle Lewis probably has a little extra incentive when someone like Sean Hamlin passes him. Hamlin's a rookie, got a factory ride, but Lewis has spent his entire career as a privateer. He went to Japan, he won 3 national championships, won a few 125 Supercross races back in the day, but David, when it comes to factory rides, Kyle Lewis always seemed to slip through the cracks.
You know, and I'm scratching my head a little bit as to why that is. And I thought maybe it's just because he's a little bit older and they're looking for a young guy that with a little bit different work ethic, but he's proved them wrong. He's lasted all this time. LaRocco making easy work out of Hamlin. He's got a little bit more power than Hamlin does. And you see Hamlin right there because of that coming up a little short there on the big gulp double jump. And Lewis, though, I'm impressed with the fact that he's stuck with it. He came back from those titles in Japan and really having a great season outdoors this year.
When we return, it's Carmichael, Lewis, and Mike LaRocco at Budds Creek. Welcome back to Budds Creek, Maryland. You're watching Ricky Carmichael way out front here in the second 250 moto. Further back in the field, this is one of the guys that should be up there battling with him, Ezra Lusk, but instead he is back battling with privateer Damian Potts. No offense to Potts, but Lusk, just like Tortelli, just like Tim Ferry, not getting the starts with Ricky and riding at the wrong end of this field.
Yeah, it's just too bad that these guys cannot seem to put it together. It's always something. If it's a bad start, if it's not that, if they crash or they don't ride hard enough in the early going, or, you know, a bike problem. There's Tortelli, and then there's Ferry. That is unbelievable. Ferry has caught these guys. They don't have an excuse. Ferry's got a great one. We saw him go down and come from last. Now, here's Ezra Lusk. That was just smart. All the way around the outside, put him to the inside for a block pass here, but even with this pass and moving forward, Lusk going to be a little bit disgusted with this moto after such a strong third place in the first moto, and more problems.
Sebastian Tortelli down again. He is having an awful 250 outdoor campaign.
You know, at the top of the show, Carmichael was worried about him. And maybe he's just too worried about Carmichael right now. He's in the same pits with the guy this year, and Ricky's having all this success, and Tortelli knows he can beat him. He knows he's got the stuff and the bike. It's just not coming together.
Let's go down to Cameron with Steve Lamson.
Well, guys, I found here on the sidelines the Fast by Faraci Husqvarna, Steve Lamson. Steve, as a former national champion, how frustrating has this year been? Injuries, and now it seems like a bike problem here as you're trying to come back.
Yeah, I've been pretty disappointed, you know, but the injuries and then coming back a little too early. Now I'm back going again, and I had a mechanical failure the first moto, and then something happened in this moto also. So I'm kind of bummed out, but I'll just put my head down and keep working with these guys and make the best of it.
Well, a frustrating day for Steve Lamson, but I tell you, we all love Lammy, and he will be back.
Now a little further back in the field is Robbie Raynard, another X-Factory rider. He's shown some flashes of brilliance here, but today, David, just not on that same pace that we saw at High Point.
Now, a couple of fourths at High Point, and if things go the way they're going, you may end up with a pair of sevens here, and that's a little ways off the pace for him, but a lot better than last week at Southwick.
Well, Tim Ferry's putting on a fine exhibition of coming through the pack, but it's just a shame that he's gone down. But I tell you what, the way Tim Ferry's riding, I want to be the first guy to give him my vote to be on Team USA at the Motocross the Nation.
I'll second that. That would be a great pick to have him on there, and they could just make that an all-Florida team and have Carmichael, Ferry, and Stewart. Because I think this whole ride what you brung deal, don't even get me started on that. I think it's the stupidest rule. It'd be great to see him have Stewart on the 125 and have us still win that title.
Now, back to the battle at hand. Kyle Lewis in second, and he is having just a wonderful moto. He's holding off Mike LaRocco. Now, Lewis is finished on the podium in a national before. You have to go all the way back to 1995. He's riding for Clark Jones in the No Lean Yamaha team. He got third at Washougal. And last week at Southwick wasn't very far off the place, but right now, running in second with Tim Ferry further back in the pack, he could finish on the podium.
He's got to hold off LaRocco. Even if he doesn't, it looks like he's still going to end up on the podium, but he's got a battle coming. He knows it. LaRocco's been inching up on him little by little, but he dealt with him in the first moto. He had a chance to check him out from behind and study his lines, and maybe he's got a little something up his sleeve here for the end this time.
And here's a couple lap riders that are following your second and third place riders. And that's a ways back to Sean Hamlin in fourth. Then comes Lusk at fifth. And then Ferry dead last to sixth. You got to be thinking right now that Tim Ferry is just wishing he'd not tipped over that first turn.
Oh, of course. But you know what? The same thing I talked about that I liked he was doing the first moto, charging all the way just to make sure that Ricky couldn't just get that gap and rest. He's riding hard with this. I mean, you know, I wouldn't blame him if he just kind of dialed that intensity knob back just a little bit and just did okay, saying, hey, I was last, what do you expect? He wants to pick up every possible position he can and really get a solid grip on second to point.
I'll tell you what, I think it's because once upon a time Tim Ferry was a privateer, so he knows that every second he gets to spend on a factory bike, he's going to work his butt off, and that's why someone should give Kyle Lewis a chance. But that's enough for my soapbox. Now, here comes Hamlin doing his best to hold off Lusk. As you see Ernesto Fonseca watching his teammate Ricky Carmichael out front and in control at Butts Creek. Speed World's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. And by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. Back to Butts Creek for the Yamaha National, and Ricky Carmichael continues to ride around by himself.
He got a little sideways coming out of that corner. Now, that's the only flaw I found. His jersey's still tucked in this moto, but he did get a little sideways. There you see the gap. Clear back over to that straightaway. They've got this left, the right, over the jump to where Ricky is. That gives you an idea of the lead he has, and he's just on cruise control now. These guys are not. They're riding as hard as they can go.
And there comes LaRocco up on the inside, but he just can't quite outpower Lewis. And right there he goes inside. Classic LaRocco block pass.
Well, you know, he's older, he's craftier, but, you know, you can't say that Lewis isn't. He's been around the world. He's probably speaks a little Japanese after all those years over there winning those titles, and he knows those kind of moves, but LaRocco really snuck in there on that one. I didn't even see that coming.
And LaRocco may have even surprised him, because Mike LaRocco, having just come back off that wrist injury, couldn't even go both motos at Southwick, and then he shows up and he's running second at the end of the second moto here at Butts Creek.
Yeah, I think there's no question now that he has the stamina, at least to go pretty good here. He should be, in a few weeks at Redbud, what we considered his home track, pretty strong. And if he can get some starts with Carmichael, he might be able to give him a go there. Dives to the inside. Kyle's just trying to make up his mind and figure out what to do right there. He just chose the wrong berm and left the door open a little bit for LaRocco. And if you do that, he'll ride right through that.
It wasn't even that much of a block pass when you look at it again. He just got to the corner first.
Yeah, it was just a little bit more aggressive. He thought ahead, and he disguised that move leading into it and kind of faked Kyle out. Now Ferry putting the move on Lusk.
Nice inside out, and he gives him a little love tap there. Ferry going inside out in the out camera, pushes Lusk down to the bottom, and just like that, Ferry is now up to 4th place.
Not too much love in that tap. He threw him down that off camera, but you know, Lusk was cruising around. I mean, that's just what he gets. He's been cruising around, it looked like to me. And all of a sudden, Ferry gets up there and starts pushing him, and he picks up the pace. If he had picked up the pace a long time ago, he wouldn't be in this situation. I watched this little bit of con. It wasn't much. It didn't even look like they hit.
I told you it was love.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Looking at it from that angle, Ferry, he just did what he had to do. Got to the berm. Ow.
Carmichael coming down hard on that Honda. Speaking of Carmichael and the Honda, David, where are all the Honda haters? When Ricky switched from Kawasaki, everyone was like, yeah, terrible, bad thing, but now the guy can't be beat.
Well, they just need something to boo about, something to get excited about. And I don't think they were really ready to let go of having Jeremy win all the races and be the king, but that crown of Jeremy's has been taken away. This kid owns it. And, you know, when you look at hard work and aggressiveness and just flat-out winning, no matter what the conditions all the time, they have a saying for that. If you can't beat him, join him. And all that people have now for this kid is respect, and I'm one of them.
Ricky Carmichael on his way to what would be his 10th straight moto win here to start the 2002 AMA Chevy Trucks U.S. National Motocross Championships. Just a flawless ride. This is the last lap, and he's still charging.
The way he went through that off camber, he got punted completely up off the motorcycle. He just climbs right back onto it. Power wide open, doesn't lose any time. He's just aggressive all the time, and that in itself is fun to watch, whether it's smooth and beautiful or not.
Look at that. No tricks, no nothing, just a nod and a wave to the cameraman at the finish line. And Ricky Carmichael has himself a record. The fastest start ever in 250 motocross, 10 straight moto wins. Now, back to the battle for second. Lewis has not given up on Mike LaRocco. The two Hondas running second and third, and it's not that far behind him. Look at Tim Ferry. He has caught all the way up to him.
I think that's part of the reason Lewis is staying glued to LaRocco. He wanted to stay with Mike, but at the same time he's going, I don't want to lose another position. So these three are in a battle. Could be a drag race up the hill.
Here comes Ferry, and then Lewis on the outside. He's going to try to get and he ran out of room, and LaRocco holds on for second. Tim Ferry will take fourth, and Kyle Lewis just got himself on the podium in the second moto here at Budds Creek.
I'm impressed with all three of those guys. LaRocco for hanging on with that wrist, and Lewis for such a strong ride with Ferry's comeback.
Sean Hamlin will end up 6th after that first moto. DNF Reynard 7th, Tortelli 8th, and Damian Platz holds on for a solid 9th. Let's go to Cameron with Ricky Carmichael.
Well, guys, your champion here on the podium today is Ricky Carmichael. He's a happy dude. He's just tied Bob Hanna for the best start ever in 250 moto wins. Ricky, a great day stomping everybody once again.
Thanks a lot. I tell you, man, I felt awesome out there the second moto. I got a whole shot again. I tell you, the Dunlop tires were hooking up off the concrete. We made an adjustment to my bike, and the thing was phenomenal out there. I could turn it wherever I wanted to, and man, it's awesome to win the first 10 motos.
Well, right on. You're amazing, Ricky Carmichael.
Thanks.
This guy's won them all so far, just stomping them all as he goes. And Ricky, I look forward to the next race to see if you can keep it going.
I hope so. You know, Tortelli rides really good there, and I'm on his bike, so I think I have an advantage this time.
Right on. Well, that's it from the podium here. Back up to you guys. It's been a great day here at Budds Creek.
Well, definitely a great day for Carmichael, and that doesn't bode well for his competition. The fact that he's making changes to the bike between motos, but the result's the same. LaRocco with a fine 4-2 effort for second overall, and Tim Ferry places third. Looking at the point standings, Carmichael a perfect score of 250. He has an entire race on Tim Ferry and 69 points on Sebastian Tortelli. Take a look at some upcoming dates. For more information, log on to usmotocross.com. For David Bailey and Cameron Steele, I'm Davey Coombs from Budds Creek saying so long. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.